All right, let's talk about something we all feel, this huge pressure to be authentic.
You've heard it a million times, right? Shakespeare's famous line, "To thine own self be true." It's everywhere. And the idea behind it seems so simple, that deep down there's this one true, unchanging version of you. But what if that's just not how it works?
I mean, what if that whole idea is, well, not exactly wrong, but maybe way too simple? What if trying so hard to stick to that one self is the very thing that's holding you back from, actually growing?
Okay, so first, we've got to talk about this pressure we're all swimming in. It's like this unspoken rule, especially in a lot of Western cultures, that your main job in life is to find your one true self, and then, put it on display for everyone. You know the ideal, right? It's the person who acts the exact same way whether they're with their parents, their best friends, or their boss. We're taught to see that kind of consistency as a sign of a really strong, authentic person. And here's where it gets really interesting. It's all about how we judge people. If you're consistent, we think, wow, that person has integrity, they're real. But if you're inconsistent, well, then you're seen as fake or wishy-washy, maybe even a little shady. And this bias, it's baked into how we see pretty much everyone, including ourselves. But here's the thing, that super rigid idea of a single self, it's really starting to fall apart, especially with how we live and work now. The lines between all our different roles are just blurring into one.
I mean, just think about working from home. All of a sudden, the work you and the home you that you tried so hard to keep separate are in the exact same room. Your boss sees your kid run into the background of a Zoom call. Your coworkers can see the posters on your wall. That wall between those selves is pretty much gone.
And it goes deeper than that. Once we're out of that rigid 9-to-5 box, we see that people's natural rhythms are all over the place. You've got your early birds and your night owls. Is one of them being more authentic than the other, or are we just finally seeing that people are, different? So that brings us to an even bigger, more profound challenge to this whole single self idea, one that millions and millions of people live every single day. We're talking about navigating a bicultural identity. Yeah, there's actually a term for this. Psychologists call it frame switching. It's basically the amazing ability bicultural folks have to just fluidly adapt their behavior to fit different cultural settings. Like maybe you greet an elder with a respectful bow in one context, and then give your friend a big bear hug in another. That's not being fake, right? That's being culturally smart. But is that how we see it? Well, a really fascinating study decided to put that exact question to the test. Researchers created a profile for a fictional guy named Miguel Wong, who is both Chinese-American and Mexican-American. And the results were, well, they were pretty stark. They showed this massive cultural bias. See, when Miguel was described as acting the same way with both groups, people were like, yeah, this guy's super authentic. But when he frame switched, acting a bit more reserved with his Chinese friends and more outgoing with his Mexican friends, his authenticity rating just tanked. It plummeted. It's the same guy just adapting to his environment, and we penalize him for it. Okay, so if our true self isn't this fixed, consistent thing from our past, then what the heck is it? This leads to a really cool, kind of radical idea. Maybe authenticity isn't about who you are right now, but about who you're trying to become. No, seriously, think about it for a second. When you think about the real you, is it the person who's made mistakes and has a track record of what you've actually done? Or is it the person you could be, that ideal version of yourself? Well, the research is pretty clear. It's overwhelmingly that future ideal self. There was this one study where people had to count their kind actions from the past and then guess how many kind actions they do in the future. And of course, everyone's future estimate was way higher, more idealistic. But here's the crazy part. When they were asked which number, the past reality or the future ideal, represented their authentic self, a whopping 72% chose the future version. It's like our true self isn't in our history, it's in our hopes. And this isn't just some lab study, right? This is real life. Listen to this incredible story from a Reddit user. They were at rock bottom, and in that moment, they reached out for a version of themselves that didn't exist yet. A sober person, a person with faith. And that single act of reaching for an ideal future self completely changed their life. It had nothing to do with being true to the person they were. It was all about becoming the person they knew they could be. So, this idea that our true self is tied to our aspirations, it's also shaped by something a lot smaller,
something that happens every single day. The little stories we tell ourselves about how we're doing. Yeah, I mean, just the way something is presented to us, how it's framed, can totally change our confidence and what we think we're capable of. And that, of course, ties right back into that ideal self we're trying to reach.
Okay, check this out. A study on fitness tracking shows this perfectly. Imagine you're trying to hit a 10,000 step goal for the day. Researchers took two groups of people. They told the first group, "Great job, you've achieved 2,500 steps." They told the second group, "Okay, you have 7,500 steps remaining." It's the exact same amount of walking, right? Just a totally different way of saying it.
So what happened? The result was amazing. The group who heard their progress as something they'd achieved felt way more confident that they could actually hit the final goal. But the group who heard it as what was remaining, well, the goal felt farther away, harder to get to. It just goes to show you the story you tell about your progress completely shapes what you feel you can do. And this circles right back to another brilliant insight from a Reddit user. This isn't just fluffy positive thinking. It's way deeper. It's about realizing that the beliefs you have, the stories you choose to accept, literally build the reality you live in. If you believe you're the kind of person who achieves things, you are so much more likely to, well, achieve them. So, let's pull all of this together. Where does this leave us? We've pretty much busted the myth of a single, stable self. And we've seen that our true self might actually be that ideal person we're always reaching for. I think it's time we completely redefine what being yourself even means. Okay, so here are the big things to remember. First, authenticity isn't a destination, it's a journey. It's a process of becoming. Second, you aren't just one self. You're a whole collection of selves. Some parts are stable, sure, but other parts are meant to adapt. Third, stop looking for your true self like it's some lost treasure. It's way more helpful to just get clear on who you are now and what your values are. And finally, and maybe most importantly, the stories you tell yourself, they really, really matter. And all of this leads to one last, much more powerful question. If being authentic isn't about finding yourself, but about creating yourself, then the question we should be asking isn't who am I? The real question is, who will I choose to be today?